Audio is important. No matter how good your content is, if you sound like undiluted ass, no one's going to want to stick around. Which begs the question, why are you still here? If you want to be a vlogger or a singer or a YouTuber or a podcaster, or if you just generally like technology that's precariously positioned intimately close with your mouth, that's generally shaped like a phallus of some sort, then you'll probably want to invest in a pretty decent microphone. I've got a few floating around here, so let's talk into them. About them. Into them. Yes. The first microphones we could talk about are the ones that you'd find on headsets, but those are more for ease of use as opposed to professional production, so we'll just skip over those and go straight to dynamic microphones. I've run out of microphone stands, so you'll have to deal with this for now. This is the Shure SM7B. Dynamic microphones like these are built fairly sturdy. A lot of times they're used on stage performances, so you'll find that they can take a pretty hefty handling. They're usually lower in sensitivity, so you'll find they won't pick up too much background noise, which is good for making distant sounds somewhat less apparent. Additionally, there can be slightly less details in the highs, which makes sibilance, or that S sound, less grating on the ears. Dynamics feature a pretty high sound pressure limit, or SPL, which makes them good for recording loud vocals, drums, gunshots, your cat in heat, or whatever. Oddly enough, many of those perks can also be considered inconveniences. For example, lower detail and sensitivity means recording things at a distance may not sound so great. Additionally, your voice will be caught with lower accuracy. Some microphones like this one may also require a good amount of clean gain before they even sound like anything. A cloud lifter or a preamp processor can help fix this. Now let's talk about condenser microphones. A few good options that won't kick you in the coins are the Blue Snowball, the Blue Yeti, and the Audio-Technica AT2020, the one you're hearing right now. Condenser microphones like these are common for vocals, voiceovers, gameplay videos, and more. Very general and generally very good sounding. If you're a singer or a podcaster, these usually have a frequency response that will capture all the fine details in your voice. Some of the cheaper ones like the Snowball may sound a little muddy, but the price is well rounded for what it provides. Still a little disappointing though. Nobody likes mud in their snowballs. Now what are the cons of condenser microphones? They pick up everything in the room. Sometimes even the next room over. I will slap your This may not actually be a con for your purposes, but let's hypothetically say you're doing gameplay videos or something. You may or may not want your button mashing and your clicking to be caught up in the mix. Also, if you've got a fan or an air conditioner running in the background, you can bet your cute little butt that this microphone will probably hear those too. Lastly, condenser microphones have two parallel plates in them. When the first plate is slapped with a sound wave, it will vibrate. When you've got a voltage running between those two plates and there's a variation in distance observed, that will change the capacitance. And when the capacitance changes, that creates an output audio signal that the interface can interpret and send to the computer. That being said, you need a power source, whether that be phantom power or USB power for condenser microphones like these. We can have condenser microphones in various form factors because electronics can get very, very tiny, like this one, or this one, or this one. Going into further detail, we have lavalier microphones that clip directly onto your clothes, so you don't have to worry about carrying anything around, or anybody carrying anything for you. This is some cheap thing I bought off Amazon. Don't worry, there are better options. Thank God. Then you've got shotgun microphones like these. This is the Audio-Technica AT875R, and it's good for shots like this. You can kind of keep it out of the way and out of view, and it'll still sound pretty good from a distance. I mean, it's in view now, but you get the point. And then we've got these Cardioid directional microphones that tend to sound the best out of all of them, but the caveat here is that they have to be kind of up close and personal for that to even matter. Some things to look out for when buying a microphone: sound pressure limit, or SPL. A lower SPL means you will probably run into peaking or clipping problems. 115, 120, even 110 is probably okay unless you literally sound like a blue whale. If your microphone's SPL is around here and you're still experiencing clipping, try reducing your gain a little bit. Another thing you might want to watch out for are pickup patterns like cardioid, bidirectional, omnidirectional, stereo, and so on. If you need more information on those, you can check out my Blue Yeti video linked in the description below. For USB microphones, you'll want to check out the bitrate. Higher bitrate means better sample detail, which means better accuracy and sound reproduction. For dynamic microphones, you'll want to check out how much clean gain they may or may not need. Some microphones don't need a lot. Microphones like the Shure SM7B need roughly 60 decibels or so to sound like anything at all. Again, this can be remedied with a cloud lifter or a preamp processor. The last thing to talk about when selecting a microphone is XLR or USB, or I guess 3.5mm, but we're not going to talk about those because they're simple enough. USB comes with ease of use, and XLR comes with more customizable options. USB microphones, like many bedroom activities, are plug and play, so slap that sucker into a USB port, set your recording levels, and then blabble away. XLR microphones are not so simple. For recording to your PC, at the very least, you'll need an interface like the Scarlett Solo. Audio is analog in nature and computers interpret digital signals, so the interface is like a translator for the two. While it gives you more flexibility with your audio, you'll have more equipment to handle and buy. When choosing an audio interface, you're going to want to check the inputs and outputs you may or may not need. For example, the Scarlett Solo takes an XLR input and outputs to USB to your computer. It can also output to your audio monitors or your headphones if that tickles your eardrums instead. You don't want to go too cheap either. The clipping I mentioned earlier can also be caused by a relatively low-end interface. Like USB microphones, these interfaces have bit rates. The higher the better. To put things into context, if you still live in 2005, the standard for CDs is 16 bits. 24-bit interfaces are where you want to be right about now, assuming you don't live in the Stone Age. Sample rate should also be considered. Think of a sample as like a frame in a video. A sample rate of 96 kHz, for example, will be 96,000 samples taken in a single second. Take that, 144 Hz monitors. Back to our prehistoric context, CDs sit at around 44.1 kHz. I would say 48 kHz is probably pretty standard nowadays. Lastly, you'll want to check for general features like gain control or toggling phantom power. While this next piece isn't exactly necessary, it's an additional benefit of using an Xlr microphone. A preamp processor allows you to process sounds with extra effects or modifiers like gaining, gating, compressing, and more before the sound even reaches the computer. On a USB microphone, you may want to refine and edit the audio afterwards by removing background noise, slapping some compression on, or equalizing lows, highs, and mids in a program like Audacity or Reaper. But the preamp can handle many of these things as you speak, allowing you to either minimize or skip your post-production editing altogether. This benefit speaks even louder when you want to do something live, like streaming. When purchasing one of these, keep an eye out for what each offers in terms of inputs, outputs, and general features. For example, I think gain control, gating, and compression are a must, but that depends on you and your needs. Speaking of needs, you'll need cables. I normally use my SM7B for voiceovers and my AT875R for the A-roll. I take an XLR to XLR cable from the mic to the DBX286S preamp processor, and I use a 1/4 inch to XLR cable to go from the preamp to the Scarlett Solo interface. And from there, the USB Type-B to Type-A cable that comes with the interface brings us home. And now that you've picked out almost everything you need, is there anything else you can add? Sure. But do your research first. Generally speaking, it's good to have a boom arm, a shock mount, and a pop filter. The boom arm is for holding Mr. Mic and his well-endowed shaft right up to your face for maximum sensitivity. The shock mount is for protecting you, him, and maybe even your audience from unwanted vibrations. And the pop filter is for when you blow. Like literally blow. What kind of video do you think this is? Some microphones like the Shure SM7B come with a windscreen already, so you won't need an extra pop filter there. Though you can find a lot of budget pop filters on Amazon for $10 or less that clamp directly onto the boom arm. If you're going super budget, then just stuff that shaft into a sock and go nuts. As for shock mounts, they're always important to have. However, do your research. Microphones like the SM7B and a lot of other dynamics that are commonly used for stage performances have something called pneumatic shock mounting built in, so that's pretty sick. But if you don't have a microphone with this feature, that's okay too. Amazon has a lot of options for shock mounts, but you'll want to do some reading before you commit to a purchase. The general shock mount will fit most microphones, but sometimes you'll have an oddly shaped mic that will require a ludicrously priced proprietary shock mount, and I am looking at you, Blue Yeti. Regarding the boom arm, some microphones come with a stand, some don't. But even if they did, you might want a boom arm anyway, because it's good for keeping the microphone close to you and or out of the way. The last thing you may or may not want is a soundboard or a mixer. I see these used from time to time in podcasts or streams, but they're not normally something I personally use. They can be used for a number of things, like adding goofy sound effects at the touch of a button, or on-the-fly volume control for one or more sources. For example, let's say you're running a show with your friend, but that glory hog won't shut his face hole and let you speak your fabulous words. So all you do is turn his knobs, and that'll shut him up real good. Are you still listening? We are almost done, I promise. Now that you have all of your gear, or at least most of it, you want to start recording, but what program do you use? A few compelling options are Logic Pro, which is Mac exclusive. There's Adobe Audition, Reaper, and Audacity. Audacity is the most limited, but it is also the most free. And free is good, usually. Don't let that deter you though, it's still a good place to start. It can still do basic things like noise removal and reduction, and then there's equalizing and compression. The remaining options are primarily preference, and you can do most things with most of them. If you can't, that's why we have plugins. Okay, if you've made it this far through the video, congratulations! You can tolerate me for longer than all of my exes combined. There was a lot of information in this video, so if I've missed something, feel free to call me out on it in the comment section below. Also feel free to bump it up with a thumb or two so other people can see your words of wisdom. So go ahead and like, dislike, comment, subscribe, share, toss me a question if you have any, and thanks for watching. My name is Steven, and I am ALittleDIMM. Bye-bye. If you want to be a vlogger, or a singer, or a YouTuber, or a podcaster, or if you just enjoy, words. Damn it. As opposed to professional. This is why I moved the microphone to... This is why I got this microphone, so I wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. But they have to be kind of close to your mouth for that to even matter, and I keep bumping into this thing. Set your recording levels, and then blabble away. Blabble. Is that a word? I don't think it's a word. A sample rate of 96 kilohertz, for example, is basically 96,000 samples being processed in one... What did I say? The general shock mount will fit most microphones, but then you'll find some oddly shaped mics that require ludicrously... But even if they do, you might want a boom arm anyway, because they're good for keeping the keeping the mice. Good, that's a new one. And also, you know, toss it up with a bump or two. Bump it up with a thumb or two. Damn it.